Dom,
Hey
how are
Mike, what's up?
you? Nothing too much. I'm kind of just chilling out here. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. The weather is actually really nice, given that it's still technically winter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, February was so mild compared to what it could have been, and hey, we're already into March now, first day of March. So yeah. uh,
So today we are talking about the movie Coherence, and this is definitely my pick. If anyone's confused, this has dimension hopping. Um, it's low budget. It's sort of an experimental film. This has my fingerprints all over it. In a
yeah,
nutshell, a bunch of friends are gathered for a casual dinner party, getting together,
yeah,
when they start mentioning that there's a comet that's going to be passing overhead. During that time, they're conversing about all these things. The lights go out. Everyone loses power. Looking outside, they're lighting candles, they're setting up glow sticks. Looking outside, they realize the entire neighborhood has lost power except for one house. They go to explore that house. Weirdness ensues.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I would say, because my thoughts on this, I have a number of thoughts. I had never seen it. Had you seen it? Because I know you had
This is
recommended.
my third viewing.
Oh, really? Okay. Because I had never seen it before. Wasn't totally sure what I was, going to be looking at. Um, and I have a number of thoughts on it. I would say I enjoyed the movie. I
Good.
definitely let me just say I definitely enjoyed it. Um, one of my thoughts on it, it didn't feel budget really to me. It felt like it was well done, I thought. The only thing is like, and this is basically the group of people, but behind me. But I didn't like the people. Like
They are incredibly annoying.
yeah, most of them were really annoying, and pretty much all of them were pretty annoying. And I all I could think of when I was watching them sit down to eat and when they were talking and chatting, I thought I would not want to be with these people. I would not want to
No.
spend, and I certainly would not want to get into a crisis with them because that's when they would really be annoying. Um, the woman that's to the far, the silver haired woman to the far side there.
Beth.
What's that? Yes,
Beth. That was her name, and that's
yeah.
the character's
He kept
name.
talking about that she was an empath, and I was thinking, you're not an empath. I've known people that I would say were very empathic, and she wasn't one of them. One of the things that I noticed is like the people would talk about other people and in unkind ways, and they were just, they were, especially when someone was out of the room, and yeah, they just weren't, uh,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're petty, vain,
yeah,
bickering people. If there's one weakness to the film,
yeah.
it's that none of the characters are likable.
Right, right. And that I think that was probably my biggest issue with the movie, was that I like it when I can, and you don't have to have that to like a movie, but it does help
It
when,
really helps.
yeah, it helps when at least one person in the movie is someone that you can kind of whether relate to or say, okay, well, this person's doing the what I would do or whatever, but they were just, they were just like charging up a hill and running back down, and it was just like I said, I found a lot of it annoying. I hated even the way when they would decide, like, I'm going to go out and check this, and just the way that they did things. It's like no organization, no, you know.
So, if you'll recall, anyone watching at home
Yes,
has no knowledge of this, but I chose the movie the day after I watched it. I contacted you, Mike, and I apologize for choosing it because I'm glad you liked it.
yeah,
This is not an entirely enjoyable movie. It's there's a lot of pettiness and bickering that is
yeah,
completely uninteresting for a good portion of the film.
Well, and let me say this before we get in any further and also alienate anybody to the movie. I did enjoy this movie. I found it some, despite the dislikable people that were in the in the cast, and I'm not saying the real people. I'm saying what the
Right.
parts they were playing, and it's well acted. It actually is a fun movie in a lot of ways because it does allow for a lot of interpretation. You have to, I mean, even I listened to a thing with the director later, and the way he was talking, I really felt he didn't have like a firm way of, he gave some thoughts, but I mean, he left it open to
Oh
interpretation.
yeah,
And he,
definitely.
and he basically said, like, he said, I've heard a lot of different theories, and he said, whatever theory works for you, that's good. But he did throw some things out there. One thing that I did not realize, and I don't know if you did, but he said this: the character of Emily, the blonde-haired chick that's to my shoulder there,
Yep.
um, that is the only character in the entire movie
Hmm.
who never changes.
Yep.
And to the audience that's listening to us, um, uh, the comic goes over, and they get into a discussion about how, and actually the way that they said it, they were talking about the one in Siberia, the hit in Siberia,
Hmm.
and that, as far as I know, was not a comet. It was an asteroid, from what I heard. But no one knows for sure. But they don't think it was a comet, or at least that's, I've never heard that expressed. But
Well, yeah,
what
because
they
it would have to hit to create that blast.
well, it did hit, or it blew up over a certain area. Luckily, it was, first of all, it was like 1911 or 1919 or something. But
Hmm.
luckily, it hit in a very isolated area. There is a crater there, that's actually formed a lake in the area where they hit in Siberia. And if you look up online, you'll see pictures, old black and white pictures. There's an entire forest on the side of like a mountain or hill that is flattened. So something big came in. It could have
Hmm.
been a UFO, could have been an asteroid, it could have been a, whatever. It could have been a piece of a comet, who knows, or a very small but yeah, I didn't get the, but what they, we're getting off track, is what they were saying in this movie is that the people in the areas got affected while it was passing by.
Hmm.
Now, that was the other thing, is I've seen a number of comets fly by. There was the Hale Bopp. I've seen a few of them that have, in my lifetime, but that have passed by, but they take days, weeks. They usually don't have um, a trajectory that they're going by so quick that they're gone.
So,
So
so let me clarify a little more about the movie for those who haven't seen it.
yes, yeah,
Um, what happens that night is they start running, all of them,
yeah,
all this crowd, they start running into alternate versions of themselves.
yeah,
And so when you refer to that woman as being the only one who is unchanged, what that means is that people come and go in the house, but a lot of them are from other
yeah,
slash dimensions.
yeah,
They're alternate versions of themselves. And so, well, it's still all the same people, the same actors.
yeah.
They're from different realities.
Well, the director was talking about how um, the one group that went out together, and this girl Emily, she was part of that group. They all went out and they went into that darkness area, and that's, of course, apparently what's causing you to, when you come out of it, you're not in the same place. So did they even come back to the same house? That was, and whoever else was still in the house was, the one thing I probably had a little bit of a problem with was, um, for the most part, whenever they would re-enter the house, it was always the same group of people, and you would think that after a certain amount of time that you would start getting like several different versions of each of themselves, going back and forth, because whatever they were doing, whatever decisions they made, when one of them decided to go to, say, visit the house that they could see that was lit up, after the power failure, they say one or two of them would leave, and then later the one or two would come back. But was it the same ones? Probably not. Um, so, like I said, it got very confusing. And the only one who ends up encountering a duplicate of herself that I know of, that I remember in the movie, was Emily. And Emily deliberately decides to, and this is one of the things that, like, because she was probably one of the more likable characters, and then she does
Not at the
something.
end.
Well, no, not at the end. Well, that's what I'm saying. She was one of the more likable characters until at the end she sees a happy version of herself and the guy Mike, um, and she decides, I'm gonna I'm gonna take out this other Emily, and which she does, and in a very violent way.
But not good enough.
Not good enough, because apparently she was still alive, because there is a phone call. Now that was another thing. I mean, there's a lot of, it's a very complicated movie.
Very complicated.
Yes, and it opens itself up to all kinds of fun interpretations,
Mhm.
and so that's probably the main reason I really like the movie. It's it is fun, and it does let your mind really go off in a crazy direction, because there's all kinds of theories you come up with. But yeah, I think it was very fun. I don't I did not like the people. And
So
yeah, go ahead.
let me tell you why I liked it.
Right.
Because again, we're both, we love movies. We'll see almost anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this was a random find. I came across it. It was streaming for free on some site, so I watched it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was great, but again, it's sci-fi. It
Yeah.
plays with dimensions, the multiverse realities. So those are all things near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
But it was like, and if that were it, I could have just left it. It probably would have been forgettable.
Sure.
But then I read about how this movie was made.
Okay.
This is the directorial debut of James Ward Burkett,
Okay.
who does not have a whole lot of directing credits to his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
He actually he worked extensively on the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise,
Okay. Yep. Didn't even
several
realize
different
that.
films.
Yep.
He co-wrote the animated film Rango, if anyone knows what that is. I've seen it. I'm not sure if anyone else knows what that movie is.
I
Um,
I know the name, but I could not tell you for the life of me what it is. So yeah. Uh
but he got so sick of the high intensity Hollywood big hit process
yeah.
that he said, I want to make a movie without a crew and without a script in my living room.
Right. Right.
And that's what he did.
Yeah.
He planned this for a year. And then he said he called these people up. They were all friends of his. He's like, hey, you're an actor. I've got a project. I can't tell you what it is. Come to my house on this night. I promise I won't kill you. That was a quote from it.
Yeah. Yep.
I promise I won't kill you, but you might find this fun.
Yeah. When
And so
someone tells me that, I'm bringing a gun. The very fact that they thought to say, "I'm not going to kill you," it's like, okay, I'm packing.
and so these people showed up. A lot of them had never met each other before.
Yeah.
And they just did this by the seat of their pants. I mean, this was such pure art. There was no script. He'd say, okay, you're this person and you're this person.
Yeah.
Now react.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely could tell that much of it was either improv or unscripted. But yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. A lot of the things that happen, like the lights going out,
Yeah.
the banging on the door,
Right.
they had no idea that was going to happen.
Huh. Huh.
And so he just threw these things at them and they went with it. And with that sort of looseness, I'm impressed this actually works as a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that this even exists impresses me.
Well, it also says something about the actors and actresses because um, a lot of times when you get a group of actors together, whether it's an acting class or whether it's an actual movie, usually when you do that and it's unscripted, it feels unscripted to a large degree, and you can tell that they're struggling with certain words and scenes and so yeah, like I said, I didn't feel I mean there were certain moments where I could tell, but for the most part it felt like an actual conversation, and that says something for the people that were acting in it. I mean that they pulled it off that well,
Oh,
but
totally.
especially as loosely as he obviously told them, you know, that what the movie was about, what the scene was about. So yeah, so and so I guess at this point you need to you need to explain the movie. So
I don't know if there's any explaining the movie.
I
Here,
don't either.
here's a quote
Yeah,
from the director, from James Ward Burkett. For about a year, all I did was make charts and maps and drew diagrams of houses, arrows pointing to where everyone was going, trying to keep track of different iterations. Months and months of tracking fractured realities, looking up what actual scientists believe about the nature of reality, Schrodinger's cat, and all that. It was research, but despite all the graphs and charts, I think our whole idea was that it has to be character based.
right,
So,
right.
so again, they did this over the course of 5 nights,
Yeah,
five
yeah.
nights of filming. But he spent a year planning this out.
Well, the other thing is when you talk about explaining it and what was going on, the comets passing, causing this, maybe opening a door or whatever. When you start getting into, because there are so many different ways you can go with something like that, and just the idea that, I mean, most people will, you get people that just start theorizing about, and brilliant minds start theorizing Hawking and people like that when they start talking about how many possible alternate dimensions there could be with someone, you and I having this conversation in another, that there could be hundreds of us, you
Mhm.
know, with little variances of, the shirt could be blue instead of brown, whatever. But little variances of what we're saying and doing, and and then you start getting into you can start getting into the idea of living a simulation, which everyone from Elon Musk to whoever thought, said the idea of the chances we're living in a simulation is like 80-90%, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know where you're getting those stats, but at the same time, it's an interesting theory, you know. So
Here,
yeah, what is this about,
here's what I consider one of the genius things. I'm not sure he even planned this,
Right.
but I love it. When you get into a movie like this, multiverse, time travel, some complex pseudoscientific phenomenon,
Yeah.
um, there's always this fine line you have to walk. You either try to explain what's going on
Yeah.
or you try to keep it completely mysterious. And neither extreme is entirely satisfying.
Right.
There's this narrow path to walk that just straddles that line.
Yeah.
By having these people be the people they are, basically non-scientists,
Yeah.
artists, actors, dancers,
Yeah.
they have no idea. So
Right.
everything they talk about is pure speculation.
Yeah.
And it's perfect because that's kind of all you want. If we were looking at a group of physicists, I would
Yeah.
expect
Yeah.
like tell me what's going on. But these
Right.
people have no clue
Yeah,
themselves.
but you know what? The physicist wouldn't be able to tell you either. So, because that's really what it comes down to. I mean, as brilliant a mind as most physicists have, um, they're groping in the dark too. It's just
Mhm.
a matter, they might have a lot more at their disposal to figure some of the stuff out. But they're still groping in the dark also. But
The,
yes,
the,
you're absolutely right. That's what makes this work.
mhm,
And it even all their blunders and the things that they're doing, because they're all kind of groping about looking for, like, well, if we do this, this will probably fix it or whatever. And I also like how when they started figuring things out, like, because at one point they opened a box, or
mhm,
they had boxes of glow sticks, and there were blue and red ones, and they said, "What do you want? You want the red ones or blue ones?" And so they opened a box of red ones. Well, one of the groups came back, well, some of the people came back, and they had blue glow sticks, and they were like, "Yeah, you're from the other group." Yeah.
mhm.
So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
the little visual cues that they use to indicate this person isn't from here, I
yes,
thought was excellent.
yes. And actually, to tell you the truth, the movie probably should be watched more than once. If you like
Mhm,
it enough, you're probably going to want to view it more than once, because you're going to want to look for things, and there are things that you can pick up on. So that, like I said, if you like the movie, there are going to be people that are going to watch this movie and go, "Oh my God, I love this movie. It's like a favorite movie of mine now." And there's going to be people that are going to be like, "Ah, I don't like it." And I was mixed.
yeah.
I had a very good time watching it. Like I said, that I would say probably 2/3 of the people in the group I didn't like. But and even the ones that I liked were still flawed characters, which, no, I got no problem with that. But yeah, I love the confusing aspect of it. I love the open end of it. And I loved the ending with the phone call.
Oh, that was great.
That was great, and that actually wrapped it up nicely. And to tell you the truth, a lot of movies, Walt, my buddy Walt, we've talked movies a lot. When it was on
Hey,
the road
Walt,
all
if you're
the time with him.
watching.
Yeah, really. Hey, and Walt is a huge movie buff. We had many very interesting discussions on movies while we were riding on the road together, and one of the things he always argued was, he said Hollywood doesn't know how to end movies half the time. They get a good script, they everything's going along great, and they get to the end and they blow an ending, or they give you the wrong ending, or you look at it with horror movies. They're so open ended. With the killer has got to keep getting up, after they drop him.
Mhm.
And it's like, for once, let the guy just lay there. Yeah. But but this was a really cool ending, because when the phone rings, and just the look on Emily's face when he's answering the phone, it's like wow. So it's a great ending, and I will really give the movie great praise for the ending.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I agree.
so so
Ending
yeah,
is awesome.
like I said, I think it's flawed, but many movies have flaws in them. But I enjoyed it, and so to me, as long as I enjoyed it, and I
Mhm.
thought again, I thought the ending was like, that was cool, that they did it that way. So, and I don't think we ruined the ending. I mean, we're spoiler alert, so we're spoiler.
We are a spoiler alert. I don't know if you can spoil this movie.
No, you can't, because it's too complicated. So yeah, we could talk about this movie all night long, and have people listen to us, and hopefully they're listening. and and so it's still not, because it's such a mixed bag of events that are going on, and
Mhm.
there's so many, like, I wouldn't even try to get into, like, if we were going to sit there and just try to explain the plot, as it happened or as it rolled out. It's even that is just
It
too.
wouldn't even give anyone a sense of the actual movie.
No, you'd have to still watch it. So I would say if you like movies that are like sci-fi, open-ended movies, movies where characters are, you know, they're really trying to figure things out. It's a mystery, what's going on. So there's a lot of fun to this. It's
I would say if you like Primer, which I
yes,
love Primer,
yeah,
this is a different film than Primer, but I feel it embodies the same nature.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So to me, again, like I said, I wouldn't call this a favorite movie. Um, I probably would have gotten around to it at some point, just because I like if you read the synopsis for this, um, I really like the description of in the synopsis, and I would have gotten around to it anyway. But as far as what's going on and the fun in the movie, I have to say, you know, whether I wouldn't highly recommend it, but I would recommend it as a sci-fi movie that's fun. So yeah, in that sense, I think it's definitely one thumbs up anyway. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I gotta say, like I wouldn't recommend this unless I knew the people liked the types of movies I like, very
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah,
Complex, convoluted, open-ended, playing with it. This is the director definitely said that he denied this was a sci-fi.
right, right,
He
and
considered this a fantasy.
yeah.
He said that all the talk of the comet, of all that, none of it had anything to do with what was actually going on.
When
And that
you Yeah, well,
one,
when you have a comet going by, a power outage, um, the a door to other whether dimensions or whatever was going on. I
or to
believe
nowhere.
yes, out of nowhere. Now you're in sci-fi. This could have been a Twilight Zone plot, which Twilight Zone sometimes sci-fi, sometimes you're just knocking at suspense or horror. But you're definitely flirting with sci-fi with this, and I would
I
say,
would I would almost describe this as a thought experiment
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it's
But
hard to define any other way.
it is. And again, for someone that's looking for a movie that allows them to have a fun, good time of trying to figure things out. You know, it's almost like going to a, you know, going to a theater where they're putting on a like a mystery performance or something like that, and everyone's
Mhm.
trying to figure out. It's the same kind of experience in a lot of ways. You're definitely trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm not sure they ever give you a real. They just don't. They don't give you that clear thing. You are going to have to figure out for yourself what works for you, what satisfies you for how this thing ended. So
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, it's fun. It's
So found some interesting things out in doing research. That guy right there, Nicholas
yeah,
Brendan,
yep,
is what got me to see the movie initially because I'm not sure if anyone else knows him, but he played Xander on Buffy the Vampire
yeah.
Slayer,
Well,
which is a television show.
there are definitely some girls out there that were they probably had crushes on Xander. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
but
gotta say, if it weren't for him, I
yeah,
love Buffy the Vampire Slayer a lot. I
me
make
too. You know, it's that's weird too because I when Buffy came out, I mean, I watched the movie and I liked the movie, but when the TV series came out, I wasn't really watching it. And um, actually, my nephew Frank, one of his girlfriends at the time was really into it and asked me to watch some episodes, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I found myself like really enjoying it. I thought, wow, this is funny. It's fun. And yeah, I got into it. So yeah,
they were playing with pop culture references before Dan Harmon was.
yeah, 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 yeah. There was a lot of fun pop culture mixed in with that. And
Mhm.
I liked the fun of it anyway. It was a great series. And
Oh yeah.
you know, I don't care what age you were. It was a series that probably anybody could enjoy if they had a little bit of fun in them, you know.
Well, also like again, talking about what I love about this film being its experimental nature, Buffy the Vampire Slayer really played around with that. Like they had one episode that had no dialogue for the
Right.
vast majority of the run. They had one of the first musical episodes. They had I
That's
gotta
right. They did.
say,
Yeah, they
huh?
did. Go ahead.
The one of the episodes that I just cannot get out of my head is The Body. And it's the episode in which Buffy's mother dies.
Okay.
So
I mean, I remember, but I don't. So
so
fresh my
here it's
memory.
this show where this woman, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is constantly in combat and always overcomes. She's slain probably hundreds of vampires. She's gone up against gods, cyborgs, mummies, giant insects. And so there's a lot of kind of violence on the show, but her mother just dies of cancer. And it's such a somber episode. There's almost no action in the episode. It's
Yeah.
the aftermath of a loved one's death. And I really am impressed with a show like that, putting an episode like that out.
Yeah. 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 True. True. They did. They flirted around with a lot of different concepts and ideas, and some of the characters, they went from characters that were loopy, silly, to characters that were very, very dark. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just characters that were so dark you were like, whoa, it's almost a depressing character or something because so yeah, they went to all different levels and explored really cool ideas, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely a fun series.
But I digress.
Huh,
Back to the movie.
yeah,
Speaking about Nicholas Brendan, near the end of the film, we see this scene. So there's a point at which Emily, the blonde girl, M, leaves the house. She doesn't like any of the characters either. She's like, I
yeah,
gotta get out of here.
yeah,
And she's reviewing all the houses, seeing all the copies of themselves. And this is one of the scenes she comes across. Two mics, Nicholas Brendan played the character Mike, two mics tied up. We
yeah,
have no context as to why, what happened, but there's no special effects. There's no camera tricks.
right.
That's his twin brother.
Oh my God, really? I did not know that.
I
Yeah,
had no idea he had a
yeah.
twin brother.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. And yeah, that I actually had forgotten that little scene there, because you're right. I remember when her seeing that scene, um, that so that also made my statement wrong about the fact that because I was saying she was the only one that came across her double, and that's not true because of this scene.
Yeah, but
So
this
yeah,
this is like a split second scene.
yes, but still, it's there. So obviously, in some of the houses, they just didn't make a lot out of the fact that there was a bunch of doubles showing up, which I was, and there were people that saw themselves like looking through a window, but in actuality, there wasn't like a duplicate running through the door saying, "Hey, it's me, the second Emily or second Mike or whatever." But yeah, um, so that's true. They must have been encountering, which is now adds to another whole thing, and it also really speaks to how dark some of these characters might actually get.
Right,
Um, so yeah, they seem like very um, cultured, nice people,
right.
but like humanity often is, they're
Yep.
only nice till something goes. to the
Yeah,
point where,
you push someone to the edge,
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
no telling.
Yeah, and with the and when especially you don't know how you look at any group of people and you don't know how fragile the psyche is when it comes to to me it's a matter of uh what breaks a person. And I've always felt like I don't break easy. You know, I you can get me mad, you can work me up, but as far as like violence, turning me into a psychopathic killer, would it would take a hell of a lot to do that. I mean, I could kill if it was like a loved one or defending myself, but like I ain't a killer. Like I couldn't do what Emily does in that one scene. Um, I certainly, whether it was me taking out a duplicate of myself or whatever, it would take something really big to make me go to the edge where I was going to kill somebody. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not a
let's hope we
killer.
never find out.
Yeah. Well, hey, I've been plenty angry with people and I've never even had the remotest idea of like, I want to hurt this person or something. So, some people probably go from point A to point B a lot quicker than others. And I don't feel I do. And I've been in some bad and some tense situations, and I feel like I can keep my cool pretty good, but yeah, you don't
Yeah,
know. And
actually, when you think about it, it's amazing that Emily was pushed to that level because
yeah,
her life wasn't threatened. She just saw something
yeah,
better,
yeah.
and
Well, and
she was willing to kill for it.
that's what actually disappointed me the most about her was because I thought she was probably the most of all the people, she was probably the one that had the least undesirable personality traits. And so yeah, when she did that, I was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, I don't know. That's another thing. Like, um, I know some people are more obsessive when it comes to something like love and a relationship and stuff, but like to me, if you can't figure it out yourself, don't try to steal something from somebody else. So there's that too, because granted, it was her herself that she was trying to steal. It was like her other self was happier, so she was going to mess up the situation where her alternate self was living a what she considered was a perfect life, but no. Uh, so yeah, like I said, I don't have it in me for that either. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna try to take somebody else's life or whatever, whether it's
Well, wait till you meet yourself from another dimension. Then all
yeah,
bets are off.
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
So,
but
so let me give a shout out to one of the unsung heroes of this movie, because in all my research, I've heard almost nothing spoken about, and
yeah,
that's the editor.
okay,
Whoever edited this movie
yeah,
together into something that made sense,
yes,
my hat's off to them. I can remember listening to an interview with the director
yeah,
saying that he raised like this was made on a budget of roughly $50,000.
right, right.
And he said almost all of that went to the editor
Wow, yeah. Well, I'll tell you
because
what.
they took 5 nights of footage and just said,
Yeah,
make something with
yeah,
this.
that it's crazy too because I honestly, the movie did not feel that budget. I mean, yeah, and if you really examine it, you could. I'm sure there's plenty of things that point to the fact that it was budget. But I've seen budget movies where lighting and camera work and acting and script, and this had a non-script and it works. Like I said, the actors at improv, they're great. But yeah, I've seen plenty of movies that were much more amateurish, and some that shouldn't have been. I'll give you an example of a movie that I enjoy. I thought was a good movie, but I saw deleted scenes and outtakes.
Mhm.
American History X.
Okay.
Um, there are sometime if you have the DVD or access to or Blu-ray, 4K copy, whatever. But if you got one that has the deleted scenes, watch some of those deleted scenes. that movie, you know, and there are a few scenes in the movie that you can tell it's a little over the top in certain scenes, but the deleted scenes, thank God they deleted the scenes. I saw some scenes that were cut, and how that movie was edited made all the difference in the world that
Yeah.
people enjoy it. It's an awful movie with the deleted scenes in it. You don't ever want to see an extended movie of that one because if they use those outtakes, it would be really, really bad. So that's an example of a movie that could have been horrible had they left some of those scenes in. This was tightly edited. You're right, and it's a well edited movie. So yeah,
And that's the thing, like when we do this, we both love movies.
yeah,
I love the art of making the movie.
yeah, yeah.
Just how it was made fascinates me almost as much as the movie itself.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And that's why I'm hooked on Coherence, because this is pure art.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's one of the reasons why, and I've said this to a number of people about like the movie Psycho.
Mhm.
First of all, one of the reasons why Hitchcock is one of my favorite directors is because I love how he set up shots and how his movies are filmed. And if you love movies and you watch his movies, um, it's and so many filmmakers have copied the way he shot something. Everything from the opening in Psycho when he's got a helicopter flying in. That shot, how they even got it at that time, because they didn't have Steadicam, they didn't have all the techniques that have come out of filmmaking over the years. They didn't have.
Mhm.
And the fact that they even made that work on a helicopter. I mean, good luck trying to strap an old movie camera onto a helicopter and film that and get a steady shot. But he made things work. His dolly in, pulling back, and things like that. He did some cool shit that nobody else was doing, and I love Hitchcock for what he brought to filmmaking. And so
I
yeah,
look forward to us doing a Hitchcock movie.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, definitely we're doing Hitchcock. We'll probably do a few of them, but and at some point we'll have to we got to do Psycho because Anthony Perkins in Psycho, my God, the
No,
man was
no one's going
incredible.
to argue Psycho,
Yeah,
but I would love to do some of the Hitchcock movies that are less talked about.
yeah. Well, fun films like The Trouble with Harry. That's
Mhm.
that's a very funny, fun movie. And but yeah, I mean, you can go on and on with Hitchcock. I mean, and even some of the ones that maybe are less like Marnie and things like that, which I actually like Marnie. But I mean, there's tons of great Hitchcock movies, Vertigo and Rear Window. I mean, and look how many movies have copied from something like Rear Window, whether it's the plot or just the way the film was shot. But yeah, so we
So
yeah we got tons of room for for Hitchcock.
so to veer us back to Coherence, I'm not sure how much more we have to say
Yeah,
about the movie. I did want to point out that that blonde woman,
yeah,
great, or
yeah,
no,
yeah,
Beth, the one with the ketamine.
yeah,
That's how I will always remember her. That she is the one that had the ketamine.
yeah,
But I like researching who acted in a movie, what the cast was, because other than Nicholas Brendan, I didn't know anyone. And
right,
after researching them, I realized there's no reason I would know anyone.
yeah,
Uh, they've all had acting careers. None of them have played like a big name role.
right.
I'm not going to say any of their names and say, oh, they did this, and have anyone recognize them.
Well,
But
I
this woman,
recognize certain faces. The ketamine check, as you called her. Yes, I did recognize her from one or two things, but and that
that
go ahead.
that is Elizabeth Ward Grayson.
Yes, which I do know the name, and I know her
She
from.
was Miss America,
I didn't know that.
1982.
Okay.
I would
Oh,
not have guessed that of her.
Okay, actually, yeah, I think I actually do. I actually do remember that. But you know, the ketamine thing, um, yeah, she because there is a whole scene, we didn't even get into really that, but she gets blamed for the
Yep.
idea that she had put it in their food and that they were actually tripping and the shit wasn't even happening because because possibly everyone's tripping out on the ketamine. And actually, it turns out that at the end that they did end up getting ketamine in their food because Emily, the one behind me right there, actually doses them so that she can so that she can actually get in and take out her alternate self. So yes,
She
she
definitely makes liberal use of the ketamine and
yes,
not for herself.
no, no. But yeah, like I said, I wasn't even thinking about the ketamine, but that was an aspect of the film. I had forgotten that. But yeah, there is an argument at one point where everyone's going, "You dosed us." That's we're all tripping, and so
And that is another thing that was planned by the director. He said he wanted to put in so many possible reasons for what they were experiencing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, well, it's funny because I was just going to joke with you and say, well, you know, he actually dosed them during the film, but that's not true. But
That
if I
would be a crazy way to make a film.
if I say that, somebody's actually going to hear it and take me seriously, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, did you know the director actually dosed those people?" And he did not. So
You've said enough. They're probably going to start doing. There's
yeah,
going to be
that's true.
tweets right now going
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Oh my
Did you
God,
hear?
the director's all of a sudden getting this hate email and but yeah, no,
Okay, I say we change the name of our YouTube channel to Rumor Mill.
yeah, 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 sure. Let's do that. Let's do that. We'll just throw a new rumor out every week, but
Oh, also, by the way, let me put in anyone watching that's curious about seeing Coherence, you can see this for free on either Tubi or I found it on YouTube as well.
oh, really? Yeah, because I watched it on Tubi, but I didn't even realize it was on YouTube.
Yeah, this movie is readily available.
Nice, nice. Well, one of the good things about a movie that has a smaller budget is usually it's more readily found. But
Yeah,
and not that we're, you know, not that we're sponsoring Tubi or giving any, but we talk about it a lot. But it is a great, if especially if you're someone that either can't afford or doesn't want to pay for a whole lot of streaming services, and who does? but but Tubi is a great source for surprisingly you'll find older, sometimes newer, bigger budget movies, and then a lot of like really good obscure ones that you might not otherwise come across, and
mm,
it'll give you a chance maybe to check movies out that you would never maybe watch, but they're there and they're gems. They're little, you know, hidden gems. So um, definitely check out Tubi. We're not sponsoring it, but we would.
we would.
but
But no,
but
I echo you. I am on Tubi several times a week watching
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Well, and it's odd how many people um, are actually hip to the, you know, the app. It's you know, I'll be talking to someone and they'll mention it and it's like, yeah, yeah, Tubi, you know. But but it is unfortunately it's, you know, it's liable like everything else is liable to start going pay, and would rather sponsor it every week to the people who own Tubi and help you out than we would seeing like that go to a pay service.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I gotta say, we gotta stop talking about right now until we get some money.
I know. Let's come on, Tubi. Show us the money. But no, all joking aside, yeah, it's a place where you can often stream a movie like this. So if you do like this movie, again, you can, you know, you can definitely see it or rewatch it on Tubi. But I had no idea it was streaming on YouTube.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the cool things with YouTube that I find, and again, we're not sponsored by YouTube either, even though we're on YouTube. Um, but but I'm surprised how many. I grew up. I was young in the 70s, and I remember like all the old TV movies. Lots of good horror movies. Lots of really good gems that came out in the 70s, and a lot of those, like What's the Matter with Helen, and just tons of hell. Like I said, movie after movie was How Awful About Alan. There were these. Speaking of Anthony Perkins, he's in that. But they all showed up for TV movies, and they're maybe not readily, but they're available on YouTube. And if you look up a lot of those old TV movies, and they're gems, you can find them. So there's a lot of stuff, you know,
Mhm, mhm.
things the
But
public made.
on
What's
that
that?
note,
Yep.
we may want to finalize
Wrap
this.
this up. Yep. Absolutely. And the next movie will be my pick, and I'm not going to announce it yet, but yeah, Dom will probably show up doing a short,
I
and
will be announcing it
yeah. So Dom, this was fun, and
always.
I know you apologized to me for picking it, but you didn't have to, because it's a fun watch. It's a good watch, and I enjoyed it. Anybody into you know a very trippy kind of like you know weird weirdness going on should probably like this. Whether you watch it one time or whether you watch it many times, but I enjoyed it. So good pick. Good
Thank you.
pick.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I
Uh,
look forward to yours.
yeah. Yep. And I will see you guys next week. We will be back. So Dom, great time. And
Always.
yeah, we'll wrap this one up. Bye, folks.